Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning into another video of me discussing how Government of Canada policy is not going to change or make a dent on housing affordability across the country. Just kidding, kind of. This week's video is going to be on the proposed change in the capital gains tax inclusion rate announced in the 2024 federal budget. The federal budget had some significant spending, and one of the ways to pay for all of this additional spending is the proposed change in the capital gains tax inclusion rate. So we'll be discussing how this affects you and how this affects Canada housing as a whole. First off, it's important to define what capital gains tax is and what a capital asset is. Capital gains tax is a tax on the profits realized upon the sale of a capital asset. Common examples of capital assets are stocks, bonds, digital assets like cryptocurrencies and NFTs, and real estate. Under the current tax laws in Canada, if you sell a capital asset investment for a profit, you are required to pay 50% of that capital gain as taxable income, meaning that you pay 50% of the total capital gain realized at your taxable income bracket. The new proposed change is that will stay the same up to $250,000, and past $250,000, the rate will no longer be 50%, it will be 2/3. So up to $250,000, you'll still pay that 50% taxable income, and then above and beyond $250,000, you'll now pay 2/3 of that capital gain as taxable income. Capital gains do not apply to primary residence, although there were talks about this. It is important to note that there is no $250,000 exclusion for corporations or trust entities. This means that any capital gains realized inside a corporation or trust will now be taxed automatically at the higher capital gains rate of 2/3 of profits realized. If adopted, these changes will take effect June 25th, 2024. Now here's where the problem starts. In the federal budget, we also announced that we want to build a record number of homes, and we're putting a ton of money to build millions and millions of homes in record numbers every year. If we're not encouraging people to be landlords, if we're not encouraging people to be investors and invest in these projects, unless they're government funded, they're not going to happen. And I know investors and landlords are often have the finger pointed at them as the cause for the housing market being unaffordable and speculation in the market and this and that. And these are all true in a way, but they're also who gets homes built, because it's private equity and capital that funds these projects to get housing starts off the ground. Condo buildings, purpose-built rentals, etc. These are all investors' money. So if we start penalizing investors who are investing in housing because we're going to tax them at a higher capital gains rate, which is a reality. They say that this is going to affect only 0.13% of the wealthiest Canadians in the world, but the reality is it's not true, because real estate is a long-term game. We're looking on the real estate side of things. If you're buying a property for $500,000 now and you're planning to have that for retirement and have that asset paid off, the reality is, especially if you're holding that in a corporation, which lots of investors choose to do, that's a huge hit on capital gains, going from 1/2 to 2/3. And with the market already being tough to invest in and cash flow and make the numbers work, this is only going to make it harder for mom and pop investors, but also bigger REITs, bigger landlords, bigger developers to get investment money into their projects to get them off the ground. At the same time, we're trying to build a record number of homes. These two things just don't mix. Let's take the conversation away from real estate for a moment and see how this capital gains inclusion rate is going to affect small businesses and professionals. So people like doctors, lawyers, massage therapists, physiotherapists, small businesses, they can all incorporate into like a personal corporation. You can do it in real estate as well. As a real estate agent, you can have a personal real estate corporation. Now in that corporation, instead of getting taxed at 50% capital gains rate, or maybe you're personally taxed and you avoid that $250,000, you think everything's okay, these corporations are now going to be taxed at the new effective rate of 2/3. Now we already have a productivity problem in Canada. This has been cited many times, and we have a problem attracting talent, especially doctors. If we take doctors, for example, how is Canada going to attract doctors when they can go to the States, make way more money, but they choose to come here because they like Canada, they want to be here, their family's here. But now it just makes it even harder and harder for them to make money because they're getting taxed so much. And a lot of these people, doctors, professionals, small businesses, they're investing in their corporation for retirement because they don't have normal jobs that you're working and you're contributing to your RRSPs and you get a pension and you have all these perks with your employer. They're investing in their corporation. Maybe they're buying real estate in their corporation. Maybe they're buying businesses in their corporation or stocks and bonds. It just makes it harder and harder for them to justify this when this talent can now go elsewhere where it's more competitive tax-wise. And if they have the choice to do that, and if they're wanted both places, I think they're probably going to shy away from Canada. Those are my thoughts. Although they're a little harsh, I think this policy is very poor and it's a tax the rich strategy that really is going to affect more people than the rich. And realistically, the rich that they're framing in this scenario, they're the ones with small businesses. They're the ones who are working professionals who are investing in that corporation. They're the ones who are taking risks and investing their money in real estate, in stocks and bonds, and etc. And the economy needs investment to grow and progress. And if we're deterring investment when things are already tough economically, I think this policy will not be favorable to Canada. These, of course, are only my opinions and are a little bit harsh, but those are my thoughts. Love to hear what you think about it. And thank you again for watching this video. Hopefully next week we'll have a little bit more cheerful topic, but that's a wrap for this week. Thank you for watching. See you next week.